Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into something that's absolutely critical for any fair legal system, making sure the judge is, well, impartial. So, how do you actually guarantee that? Turns out the law has a very clever system in place.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a scenario that, really hits home. Imagine this. You're in court, things are tense, and then you find out the judge is actually related to the person suing you. I mean, that feels so wrong, right? But what can you actually do about it? Well, this isn't just some crazy hypothetical. The legal system has a very specific playbook for exactly this kind of thing.
So, the answer isn't just some single simple rule. It's actually this powerful three-level system of protection. You can think of it like three lines of defense, and each one gets more and more serious. They're all there to protect the fairness of the whole process. So let's break them down one by one.
Okay, so let's start with level one. This is the big one, the automatic stuff. We're talking about the system's unbreakable rules. So the law is super clear about certain things. These are the bright lines. A judge absolutely has to step aside if they're related to a party or a lawyer in the case. We're talking up to a fourth degree of kinship, which is like a first cousin, or, if they have a personal financial interest in how the case turns out. And it doesn't stop there. If they were a lawyer or a witness in this same case before, they're out. If they're currently suing one of the parties in a totally different case, also out. In these situations, there's just no wiggle room. It's an automatic, absolute duty to recuse. And get this, because this part is wild. If a judge breaks one of these fundamental rules and stays on the case anyway, the consequences are huge. It's not just a fine or a warning, no. All the work they did on that case is treated as if it legally never happened. It's considered non-existent. Wiped from the record, poof, gone. That's just how seriously the system takes these kinds of core conflicts.
But, okay, what about situations that aren't so black and white? That brings us to our second level, challenging the judge. This is where the power actually shifts to you, the litigant. It's your right to raise a red flag.
And this slide really shows you the key difference. Level one, that's on the judge. It's their automatic duty. But level two, that's your right as the person in the lawsuit. We're going from those really obvious conflicts to situations where you just have a legitimate reason to think there might be bias. So what kind of stuff gives you the right to make a challenge? Well, think about things that would just feel off. Like if there's a serious friendship or even a deep-seated hostility between the judge and someone in the case. Or what if one of the parties is literally the judge's employee? Or if the judge got a gift from them. These are exactly the kinds of scenarios where you can formally question if they can really be impartial. Now, you can't just stand up in court and yell, "Hey, I challenge you." It's a very formal, very serious process. First, you have to submit a written request explaining why. Then, the judge gets to write a response. And here's the key. They don't decide for themselves. The decision goes to a panel of 3 higher-up judges. But that's not all there is to it. And you have to act fast. There's a really tight deadline here. The clock starts ticking the second you find out about the reason for the challenge. You've only got 3 days to file it. And that's not just to be difficult. It's to make sure these challenges are legitimate and not just a tactic to drag things out at the last minute. There's also a financial part to this. You have to put down a deposit. We're talking about a 25,000 lira security deposit to even file the challenge. Now, the point isn't to stop people from making valid claims. It's more of a good faith deposit. It's there to make sure you're serious and not just trying to throw a wrench in the works for no good reason. And this is so important. The second the challenge is officially filed, the original case just stops. Everything is put on hold. The whole lawsuit comes to a screeching halt. And nothing else can happen until this question about the judge's fairness is settled once and for all. Okay, now we're really ratcheting things up. We're heading into level 3, ultimate accountability. This is where we go beyond just the possibility of bias and into suing a judge for actual misconduct. And let me be clear, the bar to get here is incredibly high. You can't just sue a judge because you don't like their decision. This is reserved for only the most extreme situations. We're talking about things like proven judicial fraud, or an error that's so bad it's just completely off the charts, or a judge who simply refuses to make a ruling for no good reason. And of course, the big one, admitting they were unjust on purpose or taking a bribe. And look at the stakes here. They are sky high for everybody. If you're the one suing the judge and your claim gets rejected, the penalties are really severe. You lose your deposit, you could face jail time, and you might have to pay damages to the judge. But if your claim is accepted, the tables turn completely. You get your deposit back, plus damages, and the judge's ruling is thrown out. The judge themselves, they can get suspended. It is the ultimate high-risk, high-reward move. So, let's talk about the price of a fair trial. Because if you look at the money involved in all this, you start to see a very clear story about how serious each level is. You can just see how the deposit you have to put down, that financial guarantee, it just skyrockets. For a level 2 challenge against a judge for potential bias, it's 25,000 lira. But if you're taking that huge step to sue a primary judge for misconduct, that number doubles to 50,000. And if you're suing a high court judge, it doubles again, all the way up to 100,000 lira. The more serious the claim and the higher the court, the bigger the financial commitment has to be. So when you put it all together, you see this isn't just a jumble of random rules. This 3-level system is actually this really carefully thought out balancing act. It's all about creating a delicate equilibrium, right? On one hand, you have to protect judges from baseless attacks, but on the other, you have to give regular citizens real, powerful tools to hold them accountable. And all of this really leaves us with one big fundamental question, doesn't it? How does a society strike that perfect balance between protecting its judges who need independence and empowering its citizens who need justice? This whole framework we've looked at, it's really a society's best answer to that question. A reminder that the search for justice is never really finished. It's a constant and very delicate balancing act.